Well, welcome, Robbin and Torunn. Great to have
Thank
you
you.
guys here. How you doing?
Thank you, Sean. It's good to be here. I'm smiling, and I'm like feeling quite up. And it feels good to see you. It's been a while, so I'm also, I feel I'm relaxing a bit at the same time as feel very alive.
Yeah, something similar here. Very good to see you and be in this space together. Yeah.
Well, we've had an amazing journey together. We've always had a click. I remember the first time you guys came to Transformational Connection weekend, and yeah, it just seemed like kindred spirits. Like you guys certainly didn't hold back on your first time, and yeah. And then the thing I've also loved, like witnessing you guys is individually, it's been intimate and powerful, and I really feel like we've showed up individually, but then I've also witnessed you as a couple, and yeah, this reminds me a little of my own journey with my partner, but yeah, you two really seem to have embodied kind of the principles of the practice together and been on a journey with that. You've also trained as leaders, you've done the 6 months program, so you've got quite a lot of experience now, and even leading, leading in the world with the practice, with your own other offerings. I think where I'd like to start is just what was it like in the beginning, just for both of you, just stepping into the practice?
Yeah, I immediately think back to this weekend, first time we met you. What was it really like? It was kind of for me, it seemed like some wall just got torn down, and behind that wall was a part of myself that I knew very well, but I hadn't explored so much. So it was very like scary and vulnerable, and also completely liberating. Like, wow, can I be like this also in a group with other people? Can I be this much like raw and vulnerable, and it's still fine? It's like, yeah. So yeah, it was overwhelming and very fascinating, and the effects even from that weekend is kind of still working in me. Okay. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
3 years ago, 4 years ago, three. But what I remember of you, Torunn, is I don't know if I've shared this with you before, that first weekend, I got the impression when we were exploring it was great, and felt like we could go into depth very easily. I remember thinking that you were maybe someone that was I don't know, I wouldn't say ungrounded, but like I was imagining you were going to be like very feminine, very like chaotic emotionally, and like, but cool, like that's just like that was your path. That you've actually, the more I got to know you, you're almost the opposite to me now. And maybe that was just getting used to the first practice and the level of vulnerability that can open up. But now you feel more like an earth mother to me, or like a so yeah, so I don't know, staying in alignment and yeah, going slow and being connected to the earth. Yeah, I wonder how that all sounds to you.
Yeah. It's a bit surprising. I didn't know your first impression was that chaotic.
It wasn't like massively chaotic, but it was like, yeah, it's hard to describe. but I thought you would. It's not like a bad thing. It's like someone who's just like more creative and can go up and down quickly, and so it's not necessarily like it's more like an archetype. But you're
And
it's
it's
different.
fascinating because I also didn't recognize that part of myself that much before that weekend, but it was like something cracked in this weekend, which brought a lot of anxiety into the surface. And with this anxiety, also all the emotions maybe feel more chaotic. But yeah, maybe with the years, I'm getting more used to this level of openness, and then less anxiety or less fear is attached to all these emotions coming up, and then I can sit with it more grounded, in a more grounded way, and experience it in more fullness. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what it was as well is I think I had this with a bit of both of you, was like I also imagine you guys to be like kind of ultra hippies, like living in a yurt and like yeah, but no, that also wasn't like I don't know, you've doesn't feel that didn't feel like a fair assessment of you guys.
You said ultra hippies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's all relative. No, I'm a very straight person. I'm a medical doctor and really,
Very straight.
very straight.
Yeah.
Absolutely not hippie. But you're
Yeah.
not the first person who gets that kind of
Well,
impression.
only that first weekend, the
Yeah.
more I got to know you guys, what you just said makes total sense to me. And you two were like a pillar, I fact, both of you in different ways. And yeah, you do deep transformational work. This is how I see you now, deep transformational work, but you also are in the world, and yeah, you have a lot of different capacities and competence, and yeah, you're very committed to transformation. That's my sense now.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I remember that first weekend being like, yeah, pretty overwhelmed. It was like, wow, this is wild. This is the Wild West. And I remember there was a lot. Like I don't remember, not that weekend, maybe not ever, but like bursting out, like it being too much, and I just so quite the opposite. Like I became this very often, especially in that weekend, this pressure cooker of like, what is so much I'm feeling, but not like being able to own it, or to even sit with it, or even less express it, until like you asked me. I remember you like asked me sometimes. I think you probably saw, or saw on me that I was like yeah, so it was like I remember being like pulled into the circle, pulled into, or invited to bring myself. It was really hard for me to bring myself by my own means.
Yeah. Yeah, what I would often experience with you as well during the 6 months was, yeah, I would maybe see you bubbling or maybe slightly withdrawing or something. So that would have me curious. And sometimes just you would just kind of come out yourself, but sometimes I'd like to come in and see what was happening. And I always felt there was like a kind of warrior in you, or like a part of you that really wanted to like stand up and it's very masculine. But at the same time, you didn't push that. That's what I always appreciated. It's like you didn't kind of posture masculinity, because sometimes you were just scared or vulnerable or didn't know how to express yourself, or like totally in the unknown, and you would just kind of stay there until it became true to find your voice. That was always my sense. I wonder how that sounds.
Yeah. Yeah, there it resonates the part that I And like I really struggle to I just can't, or like, yeah, it's not totally true, but it seems like it's really hard to, like, maybe too hard sometimes, that I'm like doubting myself so much that it has to be like really true before I can actually stand up for it, before I can make a leap. It has to be, I have to already like, I have to be so sure. So that, I guess, is comes both with benefits of um, like a truth barometer, but the not so useful um, results of it is that I'm like, I often get into not having the, you might say, the courage to just take a leap and just go for it. This is as much as I know right now. This is it, and just and then take the get the feedback. So be in that not really knowing, but that was really hard then, and it's still hard, but less. So a little less,
Do you get a sense of it now?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Like I
what
feel I'm a bit like out in the. I'm not sure what I'm saying, but I'm still talking, and it's like getting a little
Mm.
bit warmer, and it's like
And how is that in this context? What are you noticing?
um, it's quite nice. I feel it's like it is a bit what's happening, but it's also like there's also like a something that's just wants to have more of it, and I think this is the quality that has kind of come forth more over the
Mm.
last years. So being in this unknown and being a little bit scared almost, or a little sweaty and like, yeah, activated, but at the same time there's something that's just like, yeah, what's here, give it, like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, when I ask you that, I tune into more to myself. I also feel like maybe there's some part of me that's like a little bit ahead or something. There's a
Mm,
part of my lower belly, I think, that's not fully settled yet to being with you and being with a potential audience. And yeah,
what's it like to notice that?
it's a relief to kind of name it and start to experience it more than, you know, be on the kind of train of it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Now I'm starting to get more, starting to get more visceral and light around me. And what you were sharing, it sounded like you noticed the part maybe that wants to hold back, but then the part that wants to kind of jump in is now like more able to kind of dive in. And it makes sense to me, that dilemma, because there's something when we step in, it's like there's almost like a matrix of kind of life force or potential that lives in the connections around us. So, and it seems like if we can jump into that, we start getting a lot of the information and aliveness of the kind of relational matrix. And if we stay withdrawn in the part that's kind of trying to survive, you can't quite get that energy. But if you go into that energy, it can be anything.
Mm.
You don't know who's going to come at you. You don't know if anyone's going to get triggered. You don't know if you're going to be able to speak truthfully, but you kind of step into the unknown.
Oh, it's so nourishing to be in that space. It's as daunting as it is nourishing.
Mm. Yeah, I see you smiling, Torunn. Seems to resonate for you as well.
Yeah, totally. And also now I think I'm just smiling because I enjoy so much when Robbin also jumps into the relational matrix.
I imagined you have longed for it
Yeah.
or missed it almost.
Mm.
Mm.
It's like I'm always longing for more
Yeah.
of you,
Yeah.
and more is coming. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's really
Wasn't it?
beautiful to experience.
Yeah, I'm very happy that it can happen. So to be in this here, that where this can happen like over years, like just a slow emerging. Ah,
Yeah, and I see it now between you guys where Robbin's on his kind of hero's journey, like trying to own the part that's not wanting to play and then wanting to play, and then you just seem to light up like, as he. It seems like you light up either way, like getting more in touch with the struggle, but when he does show more, it kind of lights you up. It seems, Torunn.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, but as you say, also being in the struggle and also kind of honoring this whole journey, or just being aware of this, all these things going on in us. It's so exciting. Yeah.
And I wonder if you guys, well, in my world, that's not necessarily a norm for couples. And usually that comes with practice, that actually our kind of inner struggle, our partners in a struggle can actually become a place of intimacy. Because for a lot of couples, it's like no, it triggers defensiveness or aggressiveness, and why are you always holding back, or judgments, which then increases the struggle for the other to come out, and then they can get aggressive back, and it can become. And I wonder if with you guys, if this has also been a journey that it's moved to, like, your own inner struggles become a place of intimacy, but also if the other one's showing up, it doesn't create envy or distance. It just seems to light you both up.
It would be a lie to say that it's only that it's never getting into the. But it does seem like if we zoom out, we have been together 4 years. If we zoom out, we seems to at least always remember to come back to like to that more surrendered place, perhaps, like, okay, so this is just what's something that's coming up, or something that wants to be felt, experienced. We seem to come back to that sooner or later.
Yeah. But I really recognize myself in this, what you said, like aggressiveness, or like, yeah, if I have the sense that Robbin is holding back, or I want him to come more forth, and I have already seen it to some degree, and I want more, and I can get like frustrated and impatient. But that's also my struggle. And then he suddenly finds the space in him to allow me to also be in that aggressiveness, and then things can resolve instead of just build up.
Yeah, I get shivers when you say that, because it's like recognizing both of you in the journey. So yeah, if he's in a struggle, but then you're in a struggle, it's easy to think, yeah, I'm only in a struggle because he is.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, like you're in your own struggle, and it's actually in a way connected to him, but also not, like, could be anyone. And then that's then the transformational potential, because then both of you get to go into what's true.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
think
that
before we started circling, I very often thought that my struggles was because of your struggles. But it's
What's that to notice that?
It's so nice. I feel I'm like blushing, but it's so liberating to, like, okay, this is my struggle, and I'm also allowed to have some struggles here.
Did that realization come now?
No,
Or like...
it has been slowly emerging.
slowly
Yeah.
maturing.
Yeah, but also every time I go into my struggle, and it's like you mirror it, or it's like, yeah, you help me notice that I'm also in my own struggle here. And that's so liberating to me, that it's like okay for me to be in my struggle. I don't need to blame anyone, like typically you, that it's fine for me also to be in a struggle. And then, yeah, as you say, then the transformation can really begin.
Yeah, I'm appreciating that kind of quality that I've seen in Robbin for sure, but also both of you actually in these moments, because it's easy. What I see a lot in couples, especially the ones I've worked with, is because they have transformational knowledge, if one of them's triggered, the other one's like, you're triggered, and let's go into it. And but then that creates even more tension, and actually there becomes like a kind of a resistance to going in, because there's kind of pressure to have to do it, or but it's actually also coming from a subtle trigger. This kind of, oh, we need to look at your trigger now.
Yeah.
It sounds like what you guys manage is when it gets tense, that you can, like Robbin can reflect to you that this isn't just about him, in a way that helps you kind of take more ownership, but then you're willing to take more ownership, which I imagine gives him more space to be truthful with you. So then it becomes, then you've created a transformational context between you.
And what Robbin also does is that he asks me, okay, but what's happening in your body right now? And that's so liberating also, instead of like trying to figure out what's Robbin doing wrong, or like where's what's the problem here. It's like, what's going on in my body? Okay, wow, a lot of things going on here. And coming back to the body in the present moment, that's really such a powerful suggestion.
I remember in the early days for me, because I've always had more capacity to like see into others, and then when I turn my attention on myself, it's more unfamiliar. It's harder for me to know how to share myself, and so in the beginning, it was, what I would notice with me is if someone started to kind of challenge me, or look at what was going on in me, I would be able to like see the subtle ways they were kind of projecting on me, but it would constantly keep me kind of out of like, yeah, looking into myself. But then one time I had it where I managed to kind of divert like, attention on me, but I felt the pain of it. It was like, oh, actually, I kind of knew I was triggered. And if I do manage to kind of show that someone else is triggered, and then we go into them, then the attention's on them again. And actually, a part of me gets missed again. And I start to feel pain of the part that gets missed. And actually, the truth is that if you're in a trigger with your partner or anyone, if you actually manage to look at yourself in it and your own vulnerability, you actually get more transformation, you get more growth, you get more learning and more power. So actually, it's in a way better to be kind of caught out in in your unconsciousness.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that though when I'm in it.
No, it's the last thing you want to hear.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
The last place you want to go.
Yeah, but I think we have such a foundational shared understanding that the whole, or one way to see the whole issue is that we don't want to feel feelings. Like we want to turn our awareness away. We have feelings that come up that we have learned to in the early years, that we were not safe to feel, like we lost love or connection, or we didn't get validated. So we have all these ways of distracting ourselves, or with talking or anything. So the whole, to just turn that around and to feel the body in these moments is kind of the kind of main pivotal
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. And is that something you've come to kind of realize more and more, the ways that actually it's about feeling the deeper life force or emotions that is part of what has you move away from the connection?
I don't think I got the gist of it, of what you said.
But it seems like what you're saying is in those moments where it's hard to connect or it's hard
Yeah.
to explore with each other, actually it comes down to
Right.
not feeling able to feel what's actually really there.
Hmm.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if that's been a growing realization for you or something that was always obvious. Or...
No, no, this has been a huge shift, but over the last three years. But it changes everything. If I just and it's actually even more kind of practical, concrete than feeling like emotions, or like, is it anger or is it fear or is it whatever? Do I feel like, but where do I feel the strongest sensation? Like what's the sensations that I'm feeling? Can I just turn my awareness to my body and just let go of all kinds of analysis or stories of whatever it, or labels, emotional labels to what it is? And can I just feel my body in this moment of being tense, activated? And then the more I can feel my body, relax in the presence of what I'm feeling, then that is the like the healing. The, yeah.
Yeah, as you share that now, Robin, I go even more into presence. Notice there's a lot of sensation right above my heart, going up into my around the back of my head, and yeah, it feels very alive in a subtle way.
Yeah, I noticed myself relaxing and getting. I'm glad you share that, or that you notice your body. It's like, I got a chance to. I realized I was kind of talking from this area, and now I'm sitting with a much more, like, my forehead is warm, my lower back is a bit tense, and just being in my body. I don't have to know why my lower back is tense right now, or like, yeah, just being in this embodied experience and bringing that into connection seems to be such a huge thing to have, especially to integrate as a way of living.
Yeah, yeah, and to share with maybe some people that haven't done this practice. That's what I start to think about. Because right now we're sharing the sensations we're experiencing with each other, and it might seem quite abstract. But like as I feel into, especially this feeling in my chest, it's right here. It's like it does become more kind of real, or like starts to feel actually like grief and sense of love. And it makes me realize I had a recent uh, experience in my life where, well, just this week I got some pretty intense news from a doctor that's rocked me a bit, quite a bit. And but it's also been a powerful experience, like the grief and the the fear also just connects me to love. Like the moments with my daughter the last few days, these three, being so incredible and tender. And yeah, my wife just being an unbelievable presence that always comes alive when, yeah, when it seems I most need it.
Mm.
Like you wanted to share that's to like bring some kind of reality. It's not just we're practicing sharing sensations. It's the sensations are doorways to what's really going on.
Mm.
I imagine it had an impact on you guys to hear that.
Yeah, I love what you say, that the sensations really are the doorways to what's really going on.
I was like, is the inverse also true?
What's that?
That the experiences are the doorways to what's really going on sensation-wise in our bodies.
Mm.
Yeah,
I just was like,
Yeah.
that makes total sense. Like the one thing I've been seeing more clearly, but I imagine if you heard me talk 6 years ago, I might have said the same realization, but it seems like these realizations keep going deeper. But it seems like when important events happen in my life, like this recent one,
Mm.
I don't take it seriously. And what I mean by take it seriously, like, okay, this obviously a big event, and it is possible just to kind of soldier on, or like,
Mm.
you know, already kind of move to like, what's the positive in this? What's the learning? And miss the step of metabolizing and experiencing and feeling.
Mm.
And then what I notice is if I continue on that path, I start getting overwhelmed, I start getting colds, I start getting fatigue.
Mm.
And then eventually what ends up happening is I'll either get a cold or I'll get overwhelmed, and then I have to feel through everything in one go. And it's not so pleasant, but
Mm.
but a relief to finally feel everything.
Mm.
Whereas what I think you're pointing to, Robin, is like, yeah, if something's actually happening that's significant, that can be like, let's metabolize it now.
Mm.
Let's experience it now in the sensations.
mm. I felt like I interrupted you, so I feel a bit like wanting to give you the word again. So
What's that like for you?
no, I feel soft and free, and I feel like I'm really following my impulses, which is quite quite awesome for me.
Yeah.
It's so wild.
Mm.
So yeah.
Mm.
And it sounds like you're also noticing Torunn.
What?
It also seemed like, Robin, you're noticing Torunn and wondering if there was more she wanted to say.
Mm.
Mm.
It's a bit like, yeah, there were so many things I'm wanting to say, and I'm like, a bit back and forth, like what is gonna come out.
Mm.
Mm. Stopping myself a bit. I'm not really fully following my impulses like you do. I notice a bit more like shy, or kind of a little bit withdrawn right now. I think what you said, Sean, impacted me a lot, and I'm not like, yeah, I need some space to let that land. And I'm also curious, like, what was the message from your doctor? And I got a bit like drawn into, yeah, you notice that I care a lot about you, and yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I was imagining, because I was using it also as a kind of illustrative point, but it's also quite a thing to share with you guys.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was yeah, news of there being like a kind of genetic thing in my family and in my liver that's pretty difficult. And so now I'm in the kind of process of like, okay, how can I navigate that?
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on quite a journey with health and transformational work. So transformational connection has been one of the most powerful ways for me to deal with some pretty intense. The last few years, I put apparently in kind of incurable autoimmune kind of thing into remission through meditation, fasting, this practice. But then just as I was having my final checkup, they were like, oh, by the way, we've also now just found this even more difficult condition. And so it was like an invitation to go the next stage deeper. But before I get into, oh, this is my next stage deeper hero's journey, I'm like, yeah, I need to feel this impact. And yeah, there's been quite a lot of tears and fear and like I say, like moments of intimacy with the people I'm closest to. It also feels quite a lot to share this also. Obviously, with you guys, it would be very easy to share, but yeah, sharing it publicly is like, oh yeah, I'm not sure I'm planning that.
Yeah, I notice this softening in me now. Just, yeah, knowing that you're taking your time to feel it and to grieve it, and yeah, it feels good in me. Letting the hero rest.
Well, the challenge is to, like, what I notice is the activation. That's more the fear. Seems like motivation. So it's like, you know, researching and finding out, you know, looking on forums and trying to work out what to do. And a lot of that is actually the fear. So yeah, it's a challenge discerning between that and being able to slow down. I can feel it more being with you guys, with your curiosity.
What are you experiencing now in your body, or?
It's like the grief is coming up into my face. It feels like it's becoming more embodied. Yeah. There's something in grief where it really almost feels like it gives me a certain kind of key to like what most matters to me. That's the amazing thing with grief. It always feels kind of scary and easy to kind of move away from, but it's so powerful to stop complacency or to be in touch with what is truly significant.
I'm getting very inspired. I feel like I'm such a newbie on grief, and I know there's more grief in me than I have had the courage or willingness to really explore, to like really dive into. But now I'm like, I'm filled with this sense of like, that's, I wanna go there. There's a part, yeah, I'm in touch with the part of me that wants to, in a bit of a strange way, but it's a bigger part, a more expansive part of me. It's like,
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It seems like what we were talking about, kind of the relational matrix, but this is like, yeah, you're wanting to experience the deeper emotions that you can sense in you.
Mm.
because they are gateways actually to deeper reality. And then this is like with grief, especially my experience with grief is that no workshop will give you as much access as life will. There's some, like, yeah, I lost someone very well, my mother, like 3 or 4 years ago. It's like, yeah, it really takes you on a journey of grief that you almost can't be prepared for, although I was so grateful for the amount of practice I'd done before, but it still was very impactful.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you for bringing grief here now. It's like in the beginning of this call, I was like in this more and now it's like it's the same kind of energy as you were saying a bit, but it's more like it has a different quality. It's not as wild. It's more like just want to drink in
Yeah.
life slowly, like
Yeah, when you share that, it reminds me that when we're in a circle, surrender leadership circle or something, and someone brings something like's happened here, like something that's been difficult for them, and then we all get to feel that feeling. So like you're experiencing the grief now. It's amazing that we can do that as human beings. And once we realize that, yeah, these feelings are actually gateways and not, it's not good to actually avoid them. Yeah, it's like we can share and give access to each other. It's really incredible.
Yeah, it feels healthy is the word that comes up for me. It's like just imagining what's happening in my, you would probably be able to explain what's happening at a cellular level, but it's like it's like I can feel it. It's like this is health, or this is like to not shy away, to not to lean in.
How are you now, Torunn?
I feel I'm like a little bit on the side, kind of observing the exchange between you guys, but I'm also here in it. I'm not quite sure, like, why am I in this slightly more passive role, it feels like.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that it's because I'm like both physically but also like following my impulses more than usual, perhaps, or more than before. But you're kind of, you know.
Are you sure it's passive, Torunn?
I'm not sure it's passive, no.
Yeah.
I also noticed that I'm enjoying kind of a little bit leaning back and watching you come alive. Both of you. Yeah. Maybe it's more listening than passive. But there is also something a little bit stiff. I feel a little bit like frozen. Like, yeah, if I was like purely listening and enjoying, it would be something else. I noticed that there is also something a little bit tense here.
What's that's like freeze like?
It's like a little bit stiff in my chest, and I also notice my face is like not fully alive, or what to say. yeah, some like subtle stiffness in my face and a little bit like something contracting a little bit in the chest.
I wonder if when you call it subtle stiffness, it's like it sounds like a kind of unwanted feeling slightly, or
Mm.
and I wonder if it is like, yeah, as you experience it now, if it is kind of just stiffness, or if there's like some energy there.
Mm. I'm not sure. When you ask that question, I notice I'm like spacing out, or like can't really think clearly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be that, and that might be like a kind of an overwhelm, but it could also be like a more presence.
Mm.
Yeah. I wonder what you notice now.
Yeah, I noticed that I'm starting to clench my hands, like I'm like contracting somehow in my body. Mm.
Starting to think of I get memories of the last kind of deep practice we did at the end of your course, the yes course, and we went into some pretty, you know, mystical territory.
Mm.
And I remember that started with some kind of freeze or fear or uncertainty.
Mm.
So like when I hear it now, when you say it, I get more a sense of a potential than like that something, a potential is being touched or something.
Mm. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. That helps me relax a bit more into the experience I'm having now. Up until now, I have been like, yeah, I also want to be in the flow with you guys. But now I'm a bit more curious about what's actually going on in me.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
I I get this sense with you. There's sometimes the flow that's most visible. It's not always the deepest flow.
Mm.
And you do seem, I experience you in the past as someone that can feel the deeper undercurrents and doesn't, yeah, doesn't need to be, but maybe you're feeling something that's we're not quite conscious of yet.
Mm. I think there's also this, there is a longing like for this. Yeah, for me to be able to also express or show these deeper undercurrents, and also this fear that um, that it's not visible, the fear of not being seen in the deepest aspects of myself, maybe. Mm. Mm.
There's the experience I have with you now is like a kind of recognizing something that I've more often seen in women. It seems like these days it's controversial to say that there are differences between men and women, but my experience is, although men can have this kind of experience, that I often more often hear women in this, like, especially when we're in deep practice, sensing something that's hard to touch, it's a bit uncertain, doesn't seem to be in the flow.
Mm.
When we actually turn towards it,
Mm.
I get that sense now that it's a deeper mystery. It's a deeper contact,
Mm.
something. It's more quiet, maybe, and subtle.
Mm. Yeah, it's more quiet and subtle, and it feels like very, very deep, like very deep in my experience of being human and this longing to share, the longing to be together in this deep sense of, yeah, sense of humanness or something like this.
You say
And
there's a
also,
sense of humanness, or
mm,
also makes me think of you being pregnant now.
mm.
I'm wondering if that's all right to share that here.
Shit.
Yeah, sure. It's no secret.
Too late now.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah. Mm.
Just a kind of miracle that's happening inside of you right now.
Mm.
Feels very, very human, but
Yeah.
beyond.
Yeah, that's a miracle happening inside of me right now. And it's also a miracle happening inside everyone right now. Like in every single cell of our beings all the time. It's like the miracle of life is happening. And I don't know how to put words on it in a way that doesn't sound like fluffy or silly. And that's also very sad. It's like this longing to express what I really feel right now. And I don't have words for it. Mm. And it's also very much connected to the suffering in the world and the longing for peace and for experiencing, the miracle of life happening inside of us and in between all of us. And sometimes it seems so far away or so deep inside that it's not present. And I think when that happens in me, I feel like I'm just maybe just shutting off, or yeah, I can try to bring myself in a way that is more superficial, or I can just be in this thing and not being able to be in it together, and both are sad. Yeah.
And you share like connection to, yeah, the miracle of that we're even breathing and talking and living here,
Mm.
that we get to have this experience. But then also sharing the vulnerability of, like, if I put words to that, does it sound superficial or like a, you know, from a new age spiritual book or something?
Mm.
But as you hold those two together, I feel like I can feel both the miracle, but also the humility of, like, it being difficult to name that really from the depths.
Mm. Mm.
I know it eases some of the pain in my body.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I notice the tension in my body is also easing, getting really warm.
Mm.
Mm.
I think this is the deepest I've gone into presence with someone during an episode. Feels like the most I've shown of myself in one of these, and seen those I'm speaking to in presence.
Mm.
not sure how that's going to be for those listening. I wonder if they can.
Boring.
Yeah. I wonder if they can experience it as well, how that's impacting on a sensation level. Well, is there any kind of last things you guys would like to share or comment on about, about your experience in the practice or bringing this into your lives, or what you want to leave this call with?
I'm sitting with this sense of awe, kind of, and gratitude. So much gratitude to you, Sean, for being our guiding light in this practice. And, yeah, showing the way into presence again and again. Yeah.
Thank you.
It feels very good to have a teacher.
Yeah, well, feels like the only way I've been able to guide is to also be on my own journey where I am, and be on the journey with you. And but yeah, it's nice to hear that felt supportive for you.
I'm also in touch with this longing for like every human being on this planet to experience presence. Yeah.
It's a good place. Did you want to share something, Robbin, as well?
No, it feels really nice to have been witnessing the interaction between you guys the last minutes. It's like it's slowed me down a lot. It's like yeah, I'm also very grateful for this practice. Like practice feels so small, the world, that word, but like way of being, that this, to have this, like for me personally in relationships and in this container, to have this, and and in our retreats and in like what we offer in the world, it's like it's hard to overestimate how big of an impact or how much it has opened for us and for thank you.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that you guys are integrating this into the workshops you're giving with breath work and embodiment and lots of deep work and play. And we're also going to be doing a SAS in Oslo at your place.
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so homely, and you guys have got a place right out in the countryside, and in nature. And we're gonna have another 6 months of and to the next level.
Yahoo!
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
people
wait.
definitely. We'll put links to all this in the say, but great to be with you guys, and big love to you both.
Right back at you.
Yeah, great to be with you too, Sean.
Cool.